Yesterday was the biggest day of the playoffs thus far. We got two series on two sides of the conference going opposite directions. We got the Cavaliers falling down 3-1, and they're now one step closer to elimination, while the Thunder had a big bounce back win on the road to tie up their series 2-2 to make sure that they don't fall in the same predicament. I want to start out east with the blowout win, the win that allowed everybody to resume their Mother's Day activities peacefully. I want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers of the viewers of this channel. Pacers dominated from start to finish. They really did, and now they're up 3-1. This is an NBA death sentence for most of the series or most of the cases. And I know Darius Garland came out and said, hey, it's not the first time that this organization has been down 3-1. But Darius Garland, that team had LeBron James. Y'all don't. And also your best player, who has been phenomenal in these playoffs. He's been like one of the best superstars as far as production thus far. He had to leave the game and couldn't play the rest of the second half. So that is a question mark heading into the next game, and that only makes this hill a lot higher and harder to climb. I was very disappointed with the start of the game and how the Cavaliers came out. You understand what the Pacers like to do. I think the entire league has taken notice of that over the last few years. And I feel like they played to their hand. A lot of those careless mistakes, a lot of those early turnovers. I mean, the first play of the game for the Cavaliers, or the first possession for them, was a turnover that led to a Tyrese Halliburton, early scoring layup. They started the game with 7 turnovers in the first quarter. The Pacers are going to take that, and they're going to use that to their advantage. I mean, in this series, even when the Cavaliers have scored, the Pacers have pushed the ball and pushed the tempo to try to keep it going fast and keep the defense shifting to get as many easy looks as they can. And for you to come out and have as many turnovers as they did, I mean, the first half you have 14 turnovers. First quarter was 7 turnovers. Second quarter is 7 turnovers. 23 or some turnovers in the entire course of the game. And then the Pacers use it to their advantage. I love when the Pacers get going early because it becomes a clinic. Everybody is touching the rock. Everybody's feeling confident. They shot 60% from three-point land in the first quarter. They couldn't miss. And everything that the Cavaliers gave them freely, they used to their advantage. 54% from the field overall, and a +5 on a rebounding glass to start this game in the first quarter. That told me what to expect for the rest of the game. Now, like game one, because the Pacers had a very similar game in game one, which I thought was almost picture perfect to start a series. But it was even better and more important here because you didn't want the Cavaliers to go back to Cleveland, removing all of the early work that you did. And I feel like the zone was a problem. The zone was a problem in the previous game. And we saw what that did to the Pacers. It took away their flow. It took away their rhythm. And it took away the tempo that they play with, and really, really threw them for a loop and a curveball. They were prepared, and I think you have to give Rick Carlisle and the coaching staff a lot of credit. They handled that 3-2 zone when it came out early in this game beautifully. They were ready and anticipated it, and they did a phenomenal job answering and responding to something that really shocked them in the previous game. I mean, they did so good against it. They went away from it, the Cavaliers, and then they brought it back towards the end of the first quarter, and Evan Mobley was now playing on a baseline side of it instead of up top. And one of the things that the Pacers really emphasize doing is getting that ball in the middle and, again, altering and shifting the Cavaliers' defense. They put so much pressure on the baseline bottom guys of this zone that it was just too much. Even for a defender like Evan Mobley, it was too much to ask, especially after the Pacers had picked up their mojo with all of the fast break points and the points off of turnovers to start the game. You put Evan Mobley at the bottom of it because early on in the game, Max Strus was kind of getting, punished. You got Pascal Siakam posting him up. You got Miles Turner being a force on the offensive glass and taking advantage of the smaller size beneath him on the lower end of that zone. And then you switch it up and you put Evan Mobley down there to be a little bit more rangy, to be a little bit more help protecting on the back line so they can't take advantage of those smaller guys on the glass and whatnot. And then once the Pacers start making their shots, Evan Mobley is rotating to help. He's rotating to take off or cover up the back end, but then the corner, which he is guarding, is kind of free and open. And I saw a couple of three-point shots where he tried to help him recover, and it was too late. The big three-point shot was Ben Shepherd, I believe it was. He tried to rotate over Evan Mobley. They kicked it out to Ben Shepherd. Evan Mobley recovered, I thought, fairly good enough, but it was still an open enough shot for Ben Shepherd to capitalize on. And on the opposite side of the basketball, the Cavaliers just couldn't get anything going. Another reminiscent of game one, where everything is going right for the Pacers. They're playing with all this speed, they're playing with all this tempo, and you trying to match it, and before you know it, you're down X amount of points. So now you're shooting a bunch of three-point shots. Nobody can make anything. And then we go into that second quarter, and the second quarter was even worse. They went 4 of 17 from the field, 2 of 11 from 3. I mean, just a tough situation. They double down on the turnovers. And again, it feels like the Pacers capitalize on every single thing. Even after the Benedict Mathurin ejection with him and DeAndre Hunter and the whole thing, which I felt on both sides was just not smart. Benedict Mathurin, he has to understand all of the cameras and technology. It's just not a good situation. Don't put yourself in that predicament to be thrown out. Fortunately, it didn't cost the Pacers or him a game. They were still able to win. But it's just he's more valuable than that. That's all I'm going to say. And then DeAndre Hunter, I can't be mad at the way he responded, but also he put himself in a position to where he could have been ejected as well. And I just think that with the series being this close at 2-1 at that point, both parties just need to be smart. And I'm for it. I know a lot of Pacers were upset that only Benedict Mathurin got ejected, but he had a closed fist, whether you think it was, that crazy or not. The rules are the rules. He got ejected, and I'm for it. I'm not going to lie. I'm tired of players putting themselves and the team in these predicaments for situations that they're not going to fight over. You shouldn't be fighting. I'm not saying it to call anybody a punk or to take away anybody's toughness, but NBA players, more times often than not, are not going to fight. You lose too much money. That the circumstances and the risk or the reward is just not high enough. Play basketball. Let's hoop. This was one of the longest games. I already was on Twitter saying, like, my goodness. You know what I mean? We don't need any more stoppage. How many guys are going to get in each other's face and push each other just for nothing to end up happening? And then a game later or 2 games later, on certain circumstances, guys are high-fiving and being like, oh, it wasn't that serious. Now, this case, I don't know. Maybe DeAndre Hunter and Benedict Mathurin clearly don't like each other. But a lot of times you'll see a scuffle, and then, like, guys will be laughing it off. Like Aaron Gordon and James Harden in round 1, they had a little scuffle, and I remember, like, when that was done and they figured it out, those two were, like, talking at the block. And it was like, then why did y'all just do all that? But I rest my case. It's just taking up too much time. The end of the first quarter happened, and I was like, wait, that's the end of the first quarter? Why did it just feel like I watched the half of basketball? Anyway, yeah, Pacers just felt prepared for this. They were ready. Credit to Rick Carlisle. Credit to the guys. Again, I'll say it like I said before early in the playoffs. When the Pacers are able to have they had like 30-something assists. They had 13 assists in the first quarter compared to the Cavs 2. When that ball is moving so freely and this team is playing with this much confidence, and when I talk about confidence throughout the team, a lot of times we say that and it's like 3 players that really were confident. No. Aaron Nesmith feels like he has the green light. He's making 3-point shots. Pump fake, 1-2 dribble pull up at a mid-range. Aaron Nesmith is making shots. Pascal Siakam looks confident. Tyrese Halliburton, he's at his best when he's playing like this. Miles Turner is making shots. Ben Shepherd came in and knocked down shots. TJ McConnell likes to play with the flow. Obi Toppin was ridiculous. We're talking about a team that has 5 starters and potentially 3 to 4 bench players that can also come in and just match all of the energy. I mean, Thomas Bryant, for goodness sake, was another guy who hit a 3 in a corner on Evan Mobley when he was trying to help and recover back to his man for a proper closeout. They sucked the life out of Cleveland. And now Cleveland is in a predicament where, again, they're down 3-1 as a team that was favored, and they have a lot of work to cut out for them. Donovan Mitchell hurting and re-aggravating his ankle does not help at all. And it's just really an unfortunate situation for the Cavaliers, who had a really good year, a storyline year, to see them bounce back and take over the East the way that they did. I can't speak highly enough of the Pacers. They had all of the reason, all of the opportunity to lay down and allow the quote-unquote more talented, better team to regain control of this series while heading back home. And for them to respond to the Game 3 performance that they had and how the Cavaliers handled them, I was truly impressed. I was truly impressed. They're playing like a team that's extremely confident and that knows how good they are, and they're playing with a chip on their shoulder. You can tell that they like the doubt. They like that Tyrese Halliburton was named the most overrated player. They like that majority of people are picking, other teams against them going into these series. You can feel the rush that they got after the DeAndre Hunter, Benedict Mathurin ejection. Like, it didn't stop or kill the momentum. They are focused. They are ready. They like being an underdog, and if you don't take them serious, they will come and take over this series and the game very, very quickly. So I was impressed with everything that they did this game. And yeah, I mean, they were up so much the second half is kind of, irrelevant to talk about. The Cavaliers did win the second half, but at that point, a lot of other guys, were in for Indiana, and you didn't have Donovan Mitchell there. 58 points in the paint for Indiana Pacers. 58 points in the paint. This is a team that does not have a Nikola Jokic, that does not have a Giannis Antetokounmpo, that does not have a Donovan Mitchell, and their best slasher or guy that you could resemble being that way got ejected. You know what I mean? This is a team that shoots jump shots. They, space it out. Got a center that can step out and shoot threes who isn't like a monster on the block. They found a will and a purpose, and they went to it. So, you have to credit the Pacers. Tied an NBA playoff record with a 41-point halftime lead. So, if I had any guess, I'd say they go into Cleveland and they wrap this series up, especially if Donovan Mitchell is not going to be 100% or good enough to go. And it just feels like the Cavaliers are in their head. They didn't look confident. They looked shaky. The offense was stale. A lot of just screen and rolls and three-point shots that just weren't falling. And it looked ugly for them. Ty Jerome looked very hesitant. I think he only took 3 shots the entire game. I don't remember the last time he only took 3 shots. DeAndre Hunter wasn't the same offensively after that altercation and ejection. He missed a bunch. Yeah, it wasn't a pretty game for the Cavaliers. They, like I said, the only thing that they have right now is to protect home court, to take it one game at a time, and hope that Donovan Mitchell is going to be not only healthy but able to be, close to what he's been in these playoffs thus far. It's hard to imagine them winning games without a full, ready-to-go Donovan Mitchell, knowing how good he's been for them on the offensive side of the floor. But yeah, just a very, very disappointing game for the Cavaliers and their fan base. Wrapping that up and heading over to the next series, the Thunder versus the Nuggets. Kind of similar situations here, right? 2 different stakes. 2 different, again, directions this series has gone, but it could have been similar situations. The Nuggets come in with an opportunity to go up 3-1 over the best team in the NBA, a team that almost won 70 games. And I talked about it before, and I even talked about it on the Numbers on the Board podcast with my guys. It feels like when the games are close down the stretch, especially in the clutch time, it's more favorable for the Nuggets, right? Because they have the experience. They have go-to stuff that they get to whenever their back is against the wall, and they have direction, right? Jokic is going to figure things out from the 1-2 punch between him and Jamal Murray. It just feels like it's always in sync and always ready in a clutch. It was not that case in this game. Game 4 was completely different and irregular for the Denver Nuggets. Disappointing start for them as well, kind of similar to the Cavaliers. I mean, 8 points. 8 points in the first quarter for the Nuggets doesn't even sound real. This is a team who could score 8 points in almost less than a minute in some cases, right? Score with Jokic, get a quick stop, transition 3-point shot from Michael Porter Jr., come back, whether you get a stop or a score, 3-point shot from Jamal Murray or something, and that fast you score 8 points. They scored 8 points. 8 points at home in the first quarter to start the game. This is not a second quarter drought. This isn't like a third quarter or like we're just extremely tight. No, this is the first quarter. So that was tough to see. But on the opposite side, the Thunder only scored 17 points, which is irregular for them. And it kind of allowed the Nuggets to not be overwhelmed with their first quarter start. 20 points in the paint for this team in this game was a series low, number 1. And by the way, this is a team that has Nikola Jokic. So in game 1, the Denver Nuggets scored in the paint 54 points. And in game 2, they scored 28. And in game 3, they scored 32. And now in game 4, they've dropped all the way to 20 points in the paint. This is where you have to credit the Oklahoma City Thunder. They've done a really good job figuring out what they want to do as far as Jokic to try to make it as hard as possible for him, because he completely dominated them in that game 1 loss at home when he had the 42 crazy point game and 42-20 game. I'm sorry. And since then, they've made things difficult. He has not had a game like that since. He's coming off a ridiculously poor shooting, poor performance game prior to this, where it sucked because the Nuggets still found a way to win. But then in this game, he was 7 of 22 from the field, 2 of 8 from 3. 11 of his 27 points came from the free throw line. He had 0 offensive rebounds. And to really give some credit, Isaiah Hartenstein guarded him for a totality of 9 minutes in this game. And in those 9 minutes, Jokic shot 2 of 9 from the field at 22%. So you have to tip your hat off to Hartenstein. And a lot of times, Jokic is getting the ball close to the rim and in the paint, and they're swarming him. They're swarming him, especially in those times of the game where Russell Westbrook is on the floor with Jokic. They feel very comfortable putting Caruso on Russell Westbrook to leave him and to help. Anytime the Jokic has the ball, they're loading up. I mean, he's seeing bodies on bodies on bodies. And as a result, he took a lot of difficult shots, in my opinion. A lot of the times and possessions I rewatched this game, I mean, he took a turnaround, like one-legged fadeaway mid-range shot. He took a lot of heavily contested mid-range shots from the elbow. And then when he did get close to the basket, I'm seeing Shea and Hardenstein and Chet or J-Dub, Caruso. I'm seeing legitimately 3 to 4 bodies like packing the paint and not allowing him to have a one-on-one situation with Hardenstein, who was holding his own for the most part. And a lot of times you see the Nuggets try to do the Aaron Gordon Jokic screen so that Jokic could have the matchup of Chet Holmgren, who he has a size advantage of, obviously, and the Thunder are just not having it. They're not having it, and it's worked very well since the opening game, as we see. So, again, you have to credit the OKC Thunder's defense in this game, because the offense struggled a bit. It's not been its best, but they're holding their hat on the defensive side of the basketball. And in that fourth quarter, the Nuggets shot 1 of 12 from 3. They also shot 3 of 5 from the free throw line. Just that. You just zoom in on the free throw line. This game is in arm's reach. They win this game if they make a couple of more free throws. I'm not here saying that they should have made every single one, but just a couple of more. You know what I mean? If Jokic split that one time, this game is just completely different. They also had a 5-second violation coming out of a timeout. Just very poorly executed possessions and plays in that fourth quarter that ultimately you feel more comfortable with Denver prior to this game. Like, if I said to a Denver Nuggets fan or to an NBA media analyst that in game 4, it was going to be another close game down the stretch, it wasn't going to be super high scoring, Shea was going to have a game where he's only shooting like 40%, J-Dub is 2 of 13 or whatever, you know what I'm saying? The starting lineup for the Oklahoma City Thunder shot 2 of 23 from 3. Shot 2 of 23 from 3. The only starter that made a three-point shot for the Thunder in this game was Lou Dort. The bench came in and gave him 8 of 18 from 3 with an additional 35 bench points, which was a very heavy lift. But the starting lineup of the Oklahoma City Thunder just did not have a good offensive night, which is why I say this was like a very, very tough loss for the Nuggets that I think they're going to kick themselves, in the behind for a very long time. Even if they go on to ultimately find a way to win this series, they're going to be like, man, we could have saved ourselves a little bit of trouble of not allowing this series to get extended. Anytime you go in and you can have Shea shoot the way that he did, J-Dub going 2 of 13 and shooting how poorly he did, and you have a situation where the starters shot 2 of 23 from 3 in this game, you feel like that's going to be a game where the Nuggets in clutch time can try to figure it out and win it. And again, it felt like previously, as long as the Nuggets made the game close down the stretch, they were going to have, a chance to close it out and be favorable in the clutch time games with the Jokic and Jamal Murray 1-2 punch. That wasn't the case. That was not the case at all. And yeah, again, talking about Russ, 9 of the 12 shots that Russ took were 3-point shots. I think that's in the Oklahoma City Thunder's favor. You know what I mean? The bench points for for the Nuggets. They only got eight bench points. You got like 6 points from Russ, the 2 threes that he made, and like a 2-point dunk or a layup from Peyton Watson. And you get 8 points combined to the 35 bench points for the Thunder. And, overall you shoot 31, 24, and 72. It's just not good for the Nuggets. I kind of feel the same way I felt about the Cavaliers. Just a disappointing start for the Nuggets, a disappointing finish for the Nuggets, and just a disappointing overall game, knowing the capacity of this game. You win this game at home, you go back to OKC with a 3-1 lead, and even if they win at home and protect their home court, all you have to do is now, close out the series at home, or you have to win 1 before they win 3. Again, 3-1 is a death sentence, essentially. Like, we've seen teams overcome it in sports. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gives people a little bit more hope. There's like a percentage now that you can win, but it's still not a position any team wants to be in. Again, I don't care how many games you won in the regular season. I don't care how favorited you were coming into the series or the Vegas odds. No team is trying to come back from 3-1. That is a very tall hill and mountain to climb. So with that being on the line, I again feel disappointed with the result of how the Denver Nuggets came out and performed. 15 offensive rebounds for the Oklahoma City Thunder was big time as well. So now you risk going back to OKC, where role players are going to play a lot better. They're probably going to shoot the ball a lot better. And the last time you were there, they completely dominated you. You had the game 1 turnaround that you can't count on. As we see in the Knicks and Celtics series, you can't count on 20-point turnarounds. And then you had the game 2 where they ran you out of the gym and completely dominated you and, kind of negated Jokic and didn't allow him to do anything. And so now, that could be a potential of what's going to happen in game 5. And you have your back against the wall where you now have to win out the rest of the series. So we'll see the adjustments they make. One of the things that I will say before I wrap up this video, Michael Porter Jr. has to find some type of consistency. Right now, he is as inconsistent and is such a wild card for the Nuggets. It's hard for them to count on what Michael Porter Jr. is going to arrive to the arena. This game, he shot 1 of 7 from the field and didn't make a 3-point shot, while in the other game, he was major and couldn't miss. He was 5 of 6 from 3. So MPJ has got to figure out some consistency, and he has to start giving them something that they can rely on. Hey, he might not be 5 of 6, but damn it, he's going to give us a for sure this. Right now, they just can't count on it. They can't count on it. And in turn, it makes them play Russ, and Russ is a liability from the 3-point, range. No matter how good he shot in the playoffs, he's just the guy that the Thunder are not going to respect. He's just not going to respect. So we'll see what the adjustments are from Dayton and the Oklahoma City Thunder coaching staff. Adelman and the Denver Nuggets coaching staff. We'll also see what the adjustments are for the Oklahoma City Thunder going forward. As always, I appreciate y'all. And once again, I hope everyone had a tremendous, happy, loving Mother's Day. I will see y'all soon as the playoffs continue. I'm out. Peace.